Hey, Cowgirl Magazine, it's Olivia Harms, and be sure to check out my Cowgirl Mic'd Up session.
Hey, cool. Well, Olivia, first off, congratulations on your national TV debut of On the Road. How are
Thank
you feeling heading into this exciting new chapter?
it's something. Like, I have to pinch myself, and we filmed it earlier this year, so it's kind of been this thing that I've had to keep the lid on, like don't spill the beans. And now that I finally get to talk about it and share it with the rest of the world and America, like it's a really cool thing. But it has definitely felt super surreal, and I find myself pinching myself, being like, wow, this is like it's actually finally happening. And I still can't believe that I'm like, yeah, I'm on a show with Taylor Sheridan and Blake Shelton producing it and Keith Urban. Like that just doesn't, that doesn't seem like something that's gonna happen to me. That's like such a weird sentence. So it's been really like an experience for just a little gal from a ranch out west.
For anyone who hasn't heard about The Road yet, can you tell me just like a brief overview? Like, what is it about and how did you come to be a part of it?
Yeah, so it's definitely a surprise to me. They handpicked 12 country musicians from all across America. And basically, we're going on the road. Like, we are not just set up in a studio in LA competing like maybe some other shows. We are like where the rubber meets the road. We're on the tour bus going from venue to venue, competing, opening for Keith Urban, trying to win over his fan base. They'll come to his pop up show, not knowing that they're going to have 12 and then 11 and 10, and as it dwindles down, openers for him. And then his fan base votes on their favorite opener. So you're really just trying to win over new fans, which is exactly what it's like to be on the road. This is just a much larger scale, and they made an incredible show out of it.
That's so cool. So, are you like let's say I go to a Keith Urban concert. Is this show like, oh, you're the opening act, or is this just kind of like smaller sets that he's playing?
Yeah, it was smaller venues, and this has already been filmed. So that's one of those things where it's like,
Hmm.
they've already done the whole process, and we've just had to keep the lid on it for the last few months. But it was small venues. Like our first one was in Fort Worth, and it's just a really neat experience to go and play for 1,000, 2,000 people, open for Keith Urban, and they're great because they're so excited to have this small arena to hear Keith in, and then we get to go out there and open for him and try to say, "Hey, vote for me."
All right. Well, without giving too much away about the show, what would you say has been the most surprising or the most rewarding part of being part of the road so far?
Yeah, we were kind of forced into this little makeshift family in the beginning because they handpicked 12 of us. And I had heard of maybe a few of these artists that I was traveling around with, but most of them were pretty new to me. And so it was really neat that we really, by the end of our time together, we just made this little family bond because we were all going through this experience together. It was something new for all of us. And so I really made some amazing friendships. And then on top of that, like going to some of these places and playing for crowds or being in situations that maybe I had never been in before, it was really neat to be pushed out of my comfort zone. And like, I'm just a little ranch girl, so I've never used the fancy in-ear monitors before. And for the show, we were able to use those, and we all received a set to take on the road with us. And so at first, I was like, "Boy, this is going to be different for a gal that's just used to using a little wedge on the stage for my monitor." But you realize that if you believe in yourself, and you really have a lot more grit in you than sometimes I think we all give ourselves credit for. And to put yourself in maybe a challenging or difficult situation, and then you overcome it, and you just feel like all this personal growth, and come out on the other side saying, "Oh yeah, I guess I can do that."
Competing for this chance, like you're working with Taylor Sheridan and Blake Shelton and Keith Urban. What's it like being on a project connected with these like powerhouse Western like men in this Western industry?
Yeah, it's definitely surreal. Like I said, it's weird to put my name in the same sentence with those three. You kind of dream about it when you're chasing your dreams, but then when the moment finally happens, you're kind of like, what? No way. This what's happening. But they were all so great. I have nothing but incredible things to say. Like Taylor Sheridan, he is a heck of a producer. Like, and his mind, I can't even imagine like how it works up there. But he comes up with great ideas, and he was really a wonderful person to connect with and be around. And Blake was a wonderful inspiration. He went to a lot of the shows with us, and then of course opening for Keith Urban. He's a great entertainer, a heck of a like musician. So just seeing that and being up close and personal with some of these people that you've looked up to is really something special.
Well, let's go back just a little bit. Pre the show, you grew up on your family's ranch in Oregon. And your mom, Joni Harms, is a Western Music Hall of Fame inductee. How would you say that like your childhood was shaped by all of this? Like what brought you to this point where you're at right now?
Well, I literally feel like I was born to do this. Aside from just feeling like God put me on the earth to try to bring people happiness through music. My very first day on stage was at 2 days old, which is crazy. My mom is just, she's probably crazier than I am, for doing that. And she had a show at the Portland Speedway with Ricky Skaggs and Lori Morgan and, all these incredible musicians. And she was very pregnant with me. And so she went into the doc and was like, listen, Olivia's still hanging out. I really don't want to miss this show. If she hasn't arrived yet, can we like go in, get this like taken care of so I don't have to miss my show? And sure enough, he was like, yeah, Joni, no worries. So they went in on the 13th and I arrived, and literally 2 days later I went to the show with her. And my dad was holding me backstage, and then she brought me out and was like, look what I did the other day. And then I just traveled with her like ever since. So I really was like born into it and grew up loving it, and I loved seeing how she made people happy, just like help them through hard times, or her songwriting could, get them through a loss. And so that combined with my love of ranching and, horses and dogs and just growing up in agriculture and in the Western lifestyle, this is what I turned out to be, because you put all that together, and then you can't end up as anything other than a cowgirl musician, I guess.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, what a crazy start. I did not realize that your mom was just like, let's get this baby out and get her on stage. She
I
needs.
know. Yeah, she's a baddie.
Yes, she is. And so are you, obviously. I mean, what a cool legacy. Were there ever moments where you felt pressure to like follow in her footsteps, or has this always just been a dream for you?
Not at all. I actually remember the opposite, because she's gone through so many highs and lows of the music business. And so even when I was young, and I said, I want to do this. And she absolutely supported my dream. But then when I got maybe a little older, she was like, are you sure you want to do this? Because it's not easy. It's not always a fun business to be in. It's not always just getting up there and playing on stage. That's the part that I live for. The hard part is traveling and being away from like my now husband and my dogs and family, and you're constantly away on maybe your friends' birthdays or bachelorette parties. And so like the things that are hard on your heart, she definitely warned me about, and said, are you sure you want to do this? And there's a lot of other jobs out there if you don't want to be a musician. But at the end of the day, I just saw how many people she made happy, and couldn't get it out of my system. So that's what I just decided to chase.
Well, your sound's been compared to like Cody Johnson, George Strait, kind of a traditional country sound, and it's gorgeous. Like every time you hear it, I'm like, man, it's almost like brings me back to my childhood, like early 90s, 2000s, like just classic roots driven sound. So when you're kind of in a time when so much of country's going towards a more pop mainstream sound, what draws you to that classic sound, I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes from my ranching background. Being a cowgirl is something I'm very proud of. And I dress like a cowgirl. I've always been very proud of my hat and boots, and definitely like my turquoise and silver or whatever. And so I think that compared with, all the things that I grew up listening to, George Strait, Brooks and Dunn, or even older yet, like Don Williams, Merle Haggard, all these amazing musicians, and how they bring out the steel guitar and the fiddle. And like that's the kind of music that I wanted to make. I wanted to tell stories. I wanted to play music that we could play in a honky tonk on a Friday or Saturday night, or in the beer garden after a rodeo, because those are all my favorite memories.
When you're performing, what do you hope that your listeners can take away from your music?
I hope that they feel that I'm authentic, because at the end of the day, I really can't be anything that I'm not. I've never tried to, but maybe like once or twice, and I don't do it very well. You really can't take the cowgirl out of me. So I just hope that they walk away feeling like they've got a new friend, and they got a cowgirl pal, and that they really feel like by the end of a show they've gotten to know me. They know where I'm from. They know what my values are, and hopefully they've had a really good time, and they want to come back and have another two-stepping song at a dance hall another time.
You were a part of Cowgirls 30 Under 30 in 2022. How do you feel like that recognition impacted your journey so far as an artist?
Oh, it was incredible to be a part of like Cowgirl 30 Under 30. The connections that you make, and the sisterhood bond that's kind of formed being connected with all these other influential women in the Western industry is really special. That's one of my like favorite things that I get to brag about once in a while is say, yeah, I don't know how, but somehow I was able to achieve this, and sharing about Cowgirl magazine, and just like the way that they have brought all these opportunities my way through these new friends of mine that were also in 30 Under 30. Because you end up connecting with them, and they say, well, how can we help you, how can we like get together and make an event, or hey Liv, maybe we need some music. That's been something that's happened many times, and I'm very grateful for it.
How would you feel like you stay grounded and connected to your roots while, you were just mentioning that you're on the road a lot, but you do want to keep that ranching kind of simple lifestyle with you?
Yeah, when I'm on the road, it's definitely something that I just hold close to my heart, and I definitely am an outside girl, so I take a lot of time to go on walks, or hikes and stuff while I'm outside, just so I can clear my mind and get some of that good fresh air. But definitely when I'm home, I take all the opportunities I can to go work cows, with my sister-in-law and my husband now, because we have a ranch here in Northern California, or go home and help my mom and dad, my little brother work cows, or just get on a horse. Just all those things where you can kind of get your hands dirty and just like get that soil under your nails again and be grounded. I think those are the sort of things that like really help me like stay in the moment and remember where I come from and really why I do this.
Looking ahead, what's next for you after the road? Are there any new exciting projects or goals that you're working on or excited about?
Absolutely. We have lots of new music coming. So first the road, and then new music. And then I'm getting really stoked for 2026 already, like just to see how this opportunity affects the way that I'm able to tour. I love my job, and I love the beer gardens and the honky tonks that I get to play, but I am still human, and there's definitely places that are on my bucket list to hopefully get to play one day. And so hopefully there'll be some larger venues in the works for 2026, maybe some more festivals, things like that, where I can just go find and make more friends on a larger scale.